Hey there, welcome to SharkCast Pod, a podcast dedicated to the greatest sporting club in the history of the world, the mighty Cronulla Sharks. This show is brought to you by Dyson Logistics, the Royal Motor Club, Import Hacking, and Jason Hawes at Crips and Crips Real Estate. My name is Sam Shinazzi, an OG from 2015, and we are super close to NRL action kicking off for the mighty Cronulla Sharks. There's no one else I'd rather talk to about that than now SharkCast veteran. He came to us as a youngster. Now he's got a beard and everything. And he's a good mate of ours and good mate of mine. And we would love to welcome Mr. Joshua Bolling. How you going, my friend?
Very good, mate. Very excited. The footy is back. One more sleep. It feels like Christmas Eve, and Sam's bringing some footies for us.
Yeah, he's going to bring us the 2 points, Joshy. Spoiler, but we'll get to that later on. This is mostly going to be a preview episode. We do have some mail to get through as well, and a few other treats for you, seeing as it is Christmas Eve, as Josh said. But primarily, we're here to talk about the game against the Warriors on Friday night, 6 o'clock Sydney time. Adjust the clock wherever you're listening to from. But Josh, let's start with the team list. And I thought it was a pretty healthy list that we named on Tuesday afternoon. At the moment, the team hasn't changed. It may in the next few hours. We'll see what happens. When I say that, they're going to cut the team down, and you may see a few changes there. You may not. But the team of Kennedy, Katoa, Ramey, and Talakai, Mulatalo, Trindle, Hines, forward starting, Kafusi, Brayley, Hunt, Nickera, Wilton, McInnes, immediate bench of Dale Finucane, Jack Williams, Toby Rudolph, Tall Tom Hazelton, extended bench, 18th man at the moment, Kale Iro, Tuka Hatapua, Daniel Atkinson, Mawini Harotti, and Jaden Beryl. What are your thoughts on the team?
I think it's the best team we could have named with everyone with who was available. So really happy with the side. Really stoked that McInnes is starting. I was still a little nervous that maybe Fitz was going to give Dale the run, but it's really strong. It's a good competitive side. I think the make or break for the team will be that front row pairing of Hunt and Kafusi. If they play well, it's going to go a long way to us getting the 2 points. The back line is as it's been for a couple of years now as well. So, and Kennedy back, I can't wait to watch him.
Yes, let's talk about the front row. Kafusi and Hunt at the moment have the job. We can kind of work out why. Pretty good preseason, both in the games they played as well as their training. They're looking good, great attitude, as well as some injuries, meaning they jump ahead. Tell me about, I reckon, Kafusi. What are you liking about him?
I just like from what I've seen so far, and especially in the preseason, it looks like a lot more aggression in his game. I know it's been spoken about that there was some off-field stuff last year that could definitely have been affecting his obviously his life and his performance, but he just looks a bit angrier, and that's how I like my front rowers. Looks really big and fit as well. Looks fitter than he did last year. And obviously the hair, the crazy hair, that first hit up, I want to see it flying around with sweat and water going everywhere. It's a make or break year for him, I think, for his Shark career, maybe his NRL career. So he's got a lot to prove, and I just hope he kills it.
And what about Royce Hunt?
Royce looks fantastic. I loved what I've seen. I liked his end of season last year, and everything we've seen from him, just absolutely ripping in. He looks like the engine's a little bigger. The minutes, I think it doesn't look so gassed so early. And I love the dimension he brings of that. And so Kafusi as well, that offload. He's always looking for an offload, sometimes maybe too much, but we need that. We need that second phase play. And I think that's when we play our best, when Hines maybe gets an offload, 2 passes wide with a staggered defensive line. And Trindle as well likes to run at the line deep. And if there's a staggered defensive line, a little kick in behind, like it just gives us so many more options. That's when we play our best. And he obviously can just bulldoze guys and just leave scattered men everywhere. So if they both play to their potential in that 8, 9 out of 10 performance, it goes a long way towards us winning the game.
You're right about the offloads and the staggered defense. Our go-to play, we know, is the set play attacking probably to the left through Kennedy and goes through the hands, Mulatalo in the corner. And they know when to activate that, when not to. But We need more than that. And the offload, as you say, uh, it really helps when Hines gets the ball from an offload. There's probably nothing better for us as Sharks fans. Do me a favor, watch that on the weekend, everyone. When Hines gets an offload, the eyes go up. He plays heads up footy, eyes up footy. He's looking around, ball in hand, moving forward. He doesn't stay still. He already gets going. He knows something's happening, and you're spot on. As long as they can control the offload, don't push it when it's too risky. Obviously, most offloads are risky, but if it's too risky, if it's not on, maybe it's not the time to do it in game one. But it is a part of the game I'm looking forward to with those guys, and we've already seen Kafusi with a couple of really killer offloads in the preseason. I'm super excited about the return of Teague Wilton. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I can't wait. I love Teague. I know he's got his doubters with his defensive capabilities at times, but I think he's just such a reliable, consistent 80-minute guy. And I think I've said it before. I think he's a player that plays better when he's playing 80 minutes. I think he's got the engine for it. Just runs those suicide lines all day. Probably Moylan set him up with a few hospital balls last year from doing it, but he's always running that line. It's a different line though to Nakora, where it's more like that crash line at the line as opposed to, an in and out off the right foot. And I think he's starting to come into that age where he's not a baby anymore. I think he's 24, 25 now. The body's filled out. He's had a long break, so he should be nice and fresh. And I still think he's a potential future Origin player. I think he's got that temperament and that play style, the grittiness. Like he always comes off battered and bruised, and he's a Shark. He debuted with us. He's played 60 odd games, and I really like him. I think this is the year he might take that next step.
Yeah, and I think that the key to any team, as we saw in 2016, is to stay injury free. They can't control that, but if T. Wilton plays the majority of the year, if Will Kennedy plays majority of the year, if Nico Hines plays 5 more games last year, we're so far into that competition, it's not funny. So I think this year, that's the difference that we're looking for. It's going to give us the next step up, as well as a bit more of a sting in defense, which we saw towards the end of the year. And Teague's going to be a massive part of that. And I'm happy he's just straight in. There's no kind of umming and ahhing. There's no suggestion that someone else was going to take his spot. There are other guys that could fill in, but he's the best guy for the job. We've seen that before. He essentially has been groomed under Wade Graham, and that there's not much more of an accolade you can get than that.
No, and I think what I'm most looking forward to is how he defends now with Trindle next to him, because I don't think he played many games. He might have played 4 games with Trindle as he's 6. So I'm looking forward to having that off season of connection with them next to each other, because Trindle is a much better defender and a better reader of defense. So I think he's probably louder than Moylan. So I'd be very interested to see how that left edge stacks up defensively. It could all fall apart. I don't know, but I'm just looking forward to see how it goes.
I don't think it will. I mean, we saw when Trindle came in last year, after a week or two, it really steadied. That was without Teague, I believe. Is that correct? There was no Teague
I think
at that
Teague
point?
he actually was in this game last year against the Warriors when he did his shoulder. So it's gone straight back to where it all happened. So I think he missed that.
So it will be a new combination in theory, but I think that it'll be a lot stronger than what we saw at the worst parts of last year. So that's also a positive for us. What did you make of the Warriors lineup? It's pretty good. It's pretty good. There are parts where it's like amazing and parts where it kind of goes, oh, it's workable.
Yep. I'm really happy that who's the normal fullback? I can't remember his name. Charnsley Clockstad. I'm really glad he's not playing. They've got this the young kid. I don't remember seeing him play. He had played 5 games last year, so still a bit of a rookie. That helps, because Shan's had a fantastic year last year and absolutely murdered us both games that he played. I think he ran over 200 meters both games, against
Yeah.
us last year or thereabouts. So that's a massive plus for us. But you look at the side, like that back line is deadly from Montoya, DWZ. Berry's a really good player. RTS back looks incredible. Really, really
Yeah.
were nervous about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really good side. It'd be hard to beat over there.
I think Berry has some defensive weaknesses that I've seen over the years, and he would be my target for the Sharks
Yes.
because the rest of them are fairly solid. Although DWZ in defense isn't amazing, so if you can hit up those two, I think that's where you go. You should be afraid of RTS. He's everything they say. He's everything you see. Like he's already had 2 pretty good warm up games, and coming off a couple of years of rugby where he's not doing that much, he looks good. He looks fit. He'd be hungry to start well for his team. And what do you make of the halves? Former Sharks Metcalf and Johnson. There's definitely danger there, but there's also I think there's weakness as well.
Yeah, look, Sean's never been a fantastic defender. He's no mug by any means. But he's another year older, 33 now. So he'd be the guy I'd be going at just to tire him out of anything, just to scramble that brain a little bit. I think the most important thing is to not go away from whatever the plan is. If the plan is to go at Sean, then you go at him all day. If it's at Metcalf, you go there all day. Don't go away from that, because I think with the games last year we versed them, but in particular, we never really built enough pressure and sustained pressure in opposition's ends.
Yeah,
I think we need to. That's if we're going to win this game, we need to have a lot of ball in their 20, just consistently at them. Metcalf, we know, fast, elusive, good ball in hand, small frame though. So if we can get Nakora running at that inside shoulder, if that's, I'm not sure what edge he is actually, but if that's the case, either way, Teague or Britain, they need to be at that inside shoulder all day, trying to drag them in and then go out the back when necessary. So yeah, Sean still worries me. He's not as quick as he used to be, but he's still good.
Yeah, unfortunately, Metcalf is as quick as what he used to be, so he cannot get any open space. Looking at their forwards, we've got our friend Fanua Blake leading the pack, and he's going to be everything you think he's going to be. He's just, I've no doubt he'll be one of the form props this year. Thankfully, coming to us next year. Good offload, just a powerful runner. We'll have to have a few guys on him. Wade Egan's serviceable dummy half, like he's tough, and I have zero issues with him as far as like he's a good player. Then it gets a bit more workmanlike for me, Josh, and I sort of get less scared. You got Mitch Barnett, Jackson Ford, Kurt Capewell, Tohu Harris, all decent players. I'm a huge Tohu Harris fan, but I feel like he always looks so tired. He's got a big motor, but he just hopefully we get him on a day where he's just sort of workmanlike. I keep using that word, but Kurt Capewell, Jackson Ford, they sort of fit in that same category. So the pack, if you take Fanua Blake out of it, I think really evens out. I think with him there's no shame in saying they have the better pack, but that's one guy. If you take him out, or when he's off the field at least, I think there are chances for us to really dominate.
Yeah, I think Tohu Harris is held together by string and tape and needles and not much training. So, but when he gets on the field, he gives it everything. He's very Cam McInnes-like, and then he'll just go even though he can't breathe. So, he's not so much a threat in attack. It's just that defense, he will lock up that middle. He doesn't miss many tackles. Jackson Ford, I actually really like. I think he's a really good back rower, and he's young, and he had a great year last year. I think he scored a couple of tries against us too. Capel doesn't worry me. He looks really slow and old, if I'm being completely honest. He looks, looks like me playing footy. And
he's got that thing where he can cause damage when he runs.
Yeah.
Friend of the show, great lad, great shark. But yeah, I don't fear him at all.
No, when you're looking at the tip sheet, you're not Kurt Capewell's probably not one of the top 5 guys you're looking at. I'm not saying
Yeah.
he's not a bad player by any means, but I
Oh,
think
we've seen him light up Origin. Like, he can do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a strong pack, but like you said, besides Fanua Blake, no one goes. I go, oh my god, like we're going to get rolled in the middle.
Mm.
But we've said that before and it's happened. So
Yeah.
I think that's why it's so important that Royce and Oregon lay that foundation early to let them know that we're here and we're not going to get mugged and we're not going to get pushed around. And I think Royce just looks really fired up this year. I don't think he's going to let that happen. He's going to, he's going to have a few comments here and there, and he's going to let them know, and he's going to throw offloads. And he's going to try and smash guys, and he has to because we need him. We need him to.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that the Warriors bench probably highlighted by Bunty Afoa, who's a guy you'd never want to tackle. But look at our bench. So if for whatever reason Hunt and or Kafusi are struggling, okay, Dale Finucane can come on and do some solid work, but you have Jack Williams, Toby Rudolph, and Tom Hazelton. And that's where the help comes as far as getting out of your own yard. So I'm not too worried there if we can hold the Warriors to little or no points in the first quarter of the game, because those guys coming on will, I think, really bring the energy and really help with the meters, as well as, you got Cam McInnes there, Teague's no slouch. So
yeah,
it's not like, while it is on the front row to do their job, absolutely, it's probably not the end of the world if they're starting off and they're not lighting it up for whatever reason. Hopefully they are, but there is a bit of help there, which is good, which is a bit less worrying for us as fans. Do you think Dan Atkinson becomes our 18th man, or do you think they stick with Cal Iro?
I think they might stick with Iro, just because it just gives it. I know Atkinson is, and I know we've said about it in our previous pod that Atkinson gives us more positions. I just have a feeling they're going to try and want to keep Iro as close as possible, just to keep him interested in playing well, or trying to play well when he's not 18th man. But yeah, I think they'll stick with that, which is fine. I also wasn't really impressed with Atkinson in the preseason, and it was disappointing because I do think he has a lot of talent, but there was a few things I saw in his game that just showed me that he's not quite ready yet.
As a starting half, though, that's a bit different, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
I just think there's probably not many other places he'd come on the field for, whereas Iro could probably come and play fullback, wing, and center better than Atkinson could.
Okay.
And we've got the cover. We've got the 4-forward bench, so we can cover the forwards.
Well, by the time this is out, if not after, we will know who's been cut from the team and who hasn't. So check your team lists. As far as some of the stats go, Joshy, fairly even against the Warriors. Historically, we've had the better run, although lately, they won both games last year. Memorable games for them. One was memorable for us. They both were, actually. The second game, they won 44-12, a real smacking.
Yeah.
The most ever points against us by them, and their biggest win against us. But unfortunately, the worst memory is in round 5, where we were leading by 20 points in the 30th minute, and we let that go. We walked home in the rain. It was not one of the better moments in Shark Park. Probably top 10 worst moments of Shark Park.
Agreed. That was not fun.
I could probably even bring that down lower if I really thought about it, but I'm just going to stick with top 10 worst. But anyway, I'm assuming, I know that really stung with the club and with the players and with the coaching staff. So I'm sure it's in the back of their mind most times when they're leading, if not when they play the Warriors. And we've lost the last 2 in New Zealand, so looking to turn that around. Overall, though, good record against them, and aside from last year, very strong record. So as far as the Warriors go, they won 17 games last year, Josh, their best season since 2003. They won 8 out of 10 games in Auckland. They scored 30 plus 8 times. They conceded under 20 points per game for the first time in about 5 or 6 years. So they were on defensively and offensively as well. I know that the round one curse is one we always bring up, and we do have the worst record in round one the past 10 seasons. It was us and Manly, but Manly won in Vegas, so now it's just us. The only win was in 2021 against the Drags. The Warriors, on the other hand, if you care about this stuff, the Warriors, they've won 5 of their past 7 round one matches, so they know how to start a season. So we'll see how that goes. But we know all about the Sharky season last year. It was up and down. It was a bit hit and miss. Our boy Jack Williams, 100th NRL game, Josh. Great milestone for him. Off contract. So looking to, I would imagine, stay at Cronulla. I know that if he wouldn't stay at Cronulla, there'd be other clubs lining up to get him. So he'll be fine, whatever happens. But I'd imagine he wants to stay in the Shire. And I'm pretty sure we want him to stay as well. It's just a matter of working out how to do it. And I think he's going to be an important part of the 17 this year, Josh. I know people are a bit, they're a bit undecided on him. They either like him or don't, but we like him. And what are your thoughts on Jack Williams' 100th game coming up?
Yeah, a massive milestone for him. Love Jack. From his first game to now, it's been a really big journey for him with some of the up and downs of his career. He was earmarked as the Paul Gallen replacement at 13. I think he's actually playing the best footy of his career at the moment, and I don't want to lose him whatsoever. I think he's a crucial part of our team. He's got such great leg drive. He's aggressive. He's quick too. He's pretty fast. He's made some big breaks before. He's going to be really important tomorrow. We're going to need him to play well because he just gives us such impact. And a massive congrats to him. I know he had a couple of really tough years there, especially with his hands. And he was smashed from pillar to post online. And I'm glad to see people have come around on him. There's still people that seem to doubt him. I don't know why. And if they've watched the last 2-3 years of him, he's arguably been our best forward for 2 years in a row. So hope he goes out there and kills it on his 100th and the boys can get a win for him.
I think some people just, you have a thought about someone or something and you're unable to let that go or change your mind, or which is not fair at all. But the handling thing is such a, I'm going to say, misunderstood kind of stat. Like, he dropped some ball one year. It was more about when he did it rather than how many times he did it. And that was a while ago. And he's improved that so much. And it's sort of the point now where if he drops the ball and you're at the game, like, there'll be someone around you going, hook him. It's like, well,
yeah, typical Jack Williams.
It's just one error, dude. Like, come on.
Like, guess what? This is football. People drop the ball. It happens.
I think in a lot of people's minds, thankfully, he's turned that around, which is great. So
I think so too, yeah.
See how he goes on Friday night. Ronaldo Militalo, he needs 1 try to equal the great Valentino Holmes for the 6th most tries as a Shark, which is 66 tries. And he's 3 tries off 5th place. So he would jump ahead of Sasai Feki and Val with 3 tries. So he's climbing up the ranks. Last year, career high 21 in 23 games. I think that you and I at least would agree it wasn't one of his better years.
No, I think I've actually got him as someone that needs to lift this year. And I haven't been overly impressed with his trial form either. So I'm not worried about Ronnie. I know he's got it. He's a gun. But I think we just need a little bit more from him. And Sione's kind of, for me, overtaking him as the better winger in the side at the moment. I think Ronnie's a better player overall. But that's why I'm probably a little harsh on him, because I know how good he is. So I'm hoping for a big game for him tomorrow. He's going to be pumped. He's going to be talking smack, and he's going to want to go over there and rip the shirt off and do all the bits and pieces. But we need something from him. How far off is he from all time try scorers? Did you say?
I
Do you
don't
have it?
have that in front of me, but he's 3 tries from jumping up to 5th. So
So it's not far off.
he'd probably he'll need sort of 4 or 5 seasons to kind of make it, but he's definitely on track. I mean, even Katoa's not that far below him. So I think they're both in a lot of ways not underrated by us as fans, but we sort of don't like in my head. Sione's a new player. You know what I mean? Ronaldo's a
Yeah.
new player, but they've been around for a while and they've scored a lot of tries. So they're doing super well. And um, we know if one of them goes down, we've got Sam Stonestreet in the wings, we've got Calero, we've got Mawini Hiroti. But we're hoping these two guys just light it up all year because they're our guys. So
Yeah.
we'll see how Ronaldo goes. I want to see, and I'll probably say this every game from here on in, I want to see Braden Trindle kick at 40-20. He got 3 last year. He only played 13 games. So he had 3 in 13 games. I think that's going to be a really big weapon for us this year.
Yep. I mean, he's already kicked one this year, technically, in the trials.
Yeah.
He got one against the Dogs, so he's already on the board, technically. He's a fantastic kicker and by far the best kicker at the club. I know Nico is a great kicker, but Trindle, for a pretty little guy, he's got a big boot on him and he's accurate. And we need to utilize that more. And I think it plays into that whole taking a bit of pressure off Nico, having a guy that can kick better than him in the side. Nico can just plot and scheme and doesn't have to be there at the 5th. He can take a run on the 4th, and it's not a killer to the set.
Yeah.
He could kick 5 or 6 40-20s this year if he plays the whole season.
Yeah, I hope so. And I think you're right about the fact that I mean, Nico has a massive boot on him. We saw that. We noticed that in his first year. Let's just he got us out of trouble. But Trindle is more accurate, as you said. He's got the distance and the accuracy. So it's awesome that we have players either side of the field that can do that. We do want to see Blake step up a little bit more and kick a bit more. Don't know if it's going to happen or not, but hopefully it does. But just the fact that, I mean, we know Matt Moylan definitely was a better attacking player than Trindle. Like his bread and butter was setting up tries. We know that.
Yeah.
He couldn't kick. Like, let's admit it. Like he couldn't. Like he got better. I thought in his last 2 years he got a lot better with his kicking.
His short kicking game was fine.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. As far as general kicking overall, I would say not a strength.
Poor. Yeah.
But in comes Trindle. And okay, you might lose a little bit of that attacking edge in the sense that Trindle's fine as an attacking player, but he doesn't have that kind of touch footy thing going on. Whereas he brings in the kicking game, and that's going to just help so much with Nico's game. I can't wait for Nico not to have to do everything.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most exciting thing for me for the year period is just having 2 genuine halves that can kick, that can run, that can defend. And I mean, Trindle had from my stats, that might be different to yours. He had 6 try assists and 4 tries in the 13 games. So it's not like he can't set them up. I know you weren't saying that, but he's got that. He's like that short ball with him and Teague is going to be really fun to watch this year. I think he's going to set up Teague and Siffer with a lot of tries, and he hasn't been someone typically who's gone for that big, hero cutout ball that Nico can do. I think we're going to see that a little bit more from Braden with this year with a bit of confidence. Just having him there with a whole preseason, I just can't wait to see how that develops over 25 rounds.
Yeah, for sure. And they've already sort of hinted at the fact that it's going to be, work in progress, but it doesn't mean we can't look forward to Friday night and expect some good things. And my whole thing about Friday night, Josh, is that it's go time. Like it's not when and the coach said it in his press conference this morning or yesterday, whenever he did it. it's no longer a thing where we ease our way into the season. Oh, we're slow starters. It's like that's BS.
Yeah.
It's time to go. Throw the stats out the window. Throw the records out the window. Under Fitzgibbon, I believe we're 0-2 to start the season, but at least performance-wise, they haven't been blown out the park. So this year, tough ask to go over there, but doesn't matter. Like that's their job. Go over there and win. And I think that we've got a good chance. Like I think it'll be close. I don't think either team's going to blow one or other off the park, but I see no reason why we can't do it. And yeah, we're missing a couple of guys. So what? You're going to be missing guys all year.
So are they.
So yeah, they are. They are. So looking forward to it. Can't wait. 6:00 Sydney time, and yeah, it's just gonna be fun to have the real thing back on a weekly grind. We're already in the grind on the podcast in a good way. It's a positive thing. And Josh, I want to say thanks to everyone who's been watching and listening and getting in touch with us. We have got a bit of mail to get through, which we'll do now. And yeah, feedback's been awesome, and we just love hearing from people. And some really good takes today, Josh. So buckle in. You haven't seen any of these or heard any of these,
No, I haven't.
So listen well, my friend. And I'm just going to look at the screen because that's what I'm doing. No one freak out. First one's from Andrew, and he says, I've been listening to the pod for about 3 years. Think you guys are great. So thank you for that. I've been living in Las Vegas for the past 17 years. Whoa. Went to the footy here last weekend. Thought it was great. Really hopeful the Sharks come here next season. I've been a Sharks fan since I was 5 years old. I was lucky enough to meet the great Barry Andrews when he was young, back in the 70s, Josh, before you were around. And just wanted to say hello, introduce myself, listening all the way from Vegas. The pod is great. Keep it up. That's from Andrew. His daughter is 6 and loves the Sharks. And he also sent some photos from Allegiant Stadium, and they're repping the black, white, and blue. So this not only is amazing, it also answers Cameron Webb's question from the other night about whether there are any kids in the stadium. I see a kid. I see Andrew's daughter, and she's repping us. So that's awesome. Andrew, don't be a stranger. And also don't be surprised one day when I rock up and need somewhere to crash in Las Vegas. So thanks so much for being in touch. Really appreciate it. And tell all your Vegas friends about SharkCast Pod. What do you think about that, Josh?
I love that. I love hearing people's stories about when they started becoming fans and passing on to their kids. Like that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Like the footy is obviously important, but the connection you have with a community or a club and spreading that to your family, that's the stuff that I love. So it was really good to hear that.
Yeah. Next up, we had Stephen, and we do have about 48,000 Stevens that write into us. This is a Stephen. We're just going to keep it at that. We're not going to do surnames or anything unless they say we can. But Stephen got in touch via the Insta, and this is a really, really good note from him. He said, with love and respect, you've been hanging a bit of, you know what, on our number one ticket holder, albeit in an understated way. I get that ScoMo is not everyone's cup of tea, as will always be the case with politicians. He didn't appoint himself to this position, and I think he's held up his number one ticket responsibilities well. He lifted the profile of the club and vocally supported the team, did his bit with sponsors and corporates. I'd like to offer up the possibly unpopular view on SharkCast. He did a great job. Say thank you and hope the next number one ticket holder can do as well. He says, thanks for the pod. Absolutely love it. And then I answered, you know what? I'm just going to tell you what I answered, Josh. I said, I completely respect your opinion on that. And that's why we don't talk about politics in the show. Apologize if anything was offensive to you. That's my opinion on him more as a politician than a Sharks ticket holder. I appreciate you taking the time to tell me about what you thought. And then he replied back, all good. He said, I'm not political by nature, but I actually got to know the Morrisons personally and firsthand know that he really values the honor of the ticket holder. So that was That kind of stopped me in my tracks a little bit, Josh, because usually everyone writes in saying, man, Bolling's awesome and da-da-da, but it was really good to get some critical feedback. And it confirms what I absolutely believe, that we all have so many different thoughts on everything. We should probably stick it to rugby league and a little bit of music. And I definitely was having some digs at the number one ticket holder. I do think personally it's time to move on because for 8,000 million different reasons. But absolutely take Steve's point that if I really sit and think about it, and if you make me say it, he actually kind of did his role pretty good. So just wanted to get out there. Thanks, Steve, for that. Thanks for the kind words as well. Really appreciate it. Joshy, we had Evan tell us on the X. The team is as expected. I'm glad Cam is starting. Hopefully, Kafusi and Hunt can lay down a solid foundation before 4 monster bench players come into the game. Hashtag up. That's from Evan. And we all sort of agree with that for sure. Now, where am I going? I'm going on to the Facebook. And we posted about the team, Josh, as you would have seen. We had a lot of replies and some we didn't get to. I believe, for example, David said, I'm happy with the squad is so consistent. They perform so good when they're on. It's a great foundation round one team. Tough road trip. Full respect to the Warriors. It'll be a good test for our season. Look forward to the game. Up. Our friend Danny wrote, good lineup, solid bench, good extended bench. Looking forward to a monster pack coming off. Quality choice using McInnes at 13. Hopefully it stays this way for the season. There's a lot of talk, Josh, about that bench. So we really need it to fire because it looks like that's the way he's going to go, right? A big bench for the year.
I think so. Who could you see coming on as a utility? Like realistically,
I think that if they stake their claim in New South Wales Cup form, I think a Dykes and Iro, possibly an Atkinson could do it. Or if they needed a player to cover someone, so for example, if one of them was playing injured, then one of those guys might sit there. But I think other than that, he might go with the old SharkCast pod motto of 4 big forwards. So,
and
maybe it's a Warriors thing. Maybe it's a way to control the Warriors. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'd probably have to ask the great Fitzgibbon himself. But the fans are definitely frothing over the bench.
Yeah, and so there should be. I just think as well, like we've still got Ueli and eventually down the track Colquhoun to come back. That's 2 more spots that are going to be being fought over. Ueli, you'd think, is definitely going to come back in the side. So someone good there is already going to miss out.
Absolutely.
And then you can't also
probably
try and fit a utility there too.
Possibly 2 of these guys are going to miss out.
Who would you think?
Well, Ueli, I think, starts when he's fit.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I think maybe it's up to Kafusi to really kind of keep that jumper. And I'm not suggesting he can't. I think he can, but it's kind of, I know every year we start the season and we do the podcast previews and we're like, man, we got so many good forwards. But this year, it kind of looks healthy, like for the first time in a while. Like it actually, realistically, once they're all there, it looks kind of like we have enough guys to cover us for the season. So
yeah, and I love Toby on the bench.
Yeah, absolutely. Our mate Cleve has been in touch, said absolute as perfect a squad as we can get it. I had bigger hopes for Iro and his trial form to push Talakai to the bench or the forwards, but he didn't step up. And we kind of all agree on that too. What else have I got here? I think that might be all I have there. And then if I hop across here, Josh. Yes, we have a note from David. He said, thanks for the pod, always classy and insightful. So thank you very much for that. On to the important stuff, the RMY PC import hacking and the great garlic bread debate. I haven't heard of late the free garlic bread mentioned. I know it's not super important, but would like to know if it's still a thing. Thanks, up the Sharks. I'll tell you one day how I met Laurie Nichols on my way to the 1978 grand final of the Sharks. Well, I look forward to that tale. As far as the garlic bread debate goes, there's no debate. If you go mention garlic bread, baby, you're in. So a lot of their staff know about it. If they look at you and go, "What's a SharkCast pod?" You just say, "I want to speak to the manager," and I want to speak to Liam. In fact, you can name drop Liam. Say, Liam said, I get free garlic bread because I mentioned SharkCast pod at the Royal Motor Yacht Club in Port Hacking, where we love hanging out, love having a good time. And the reason you're not hearing it, David, is because somehow through the magic of technology, I managed to wipe part of that advertisement, which is pre-recorded. I managed to wipe it that bit in the middle. So I was getting messages going, "Hey, there's like 10-second of silence in the ad," and I'm like, "Oh, that's a pickle." So I just got rid of it, and I have to do another one, obviously. But that's why there's no garlic bread mentioned. But it is important, and I'm glad you brought it up. Josh, I think that might be all the mail. I get really confused with all these windows open, but if there is more mail, we'll get to it for sure. Definitely get in touch with us at SharkCast Pod on the socials, sharkcastpod@gmail.com for the emails, and we'd love to hear from you post game about what you thought, what went down, what was good, what was not so good. What's your prediction for the game, Josh? Who do you think is going to play well for us? And give me a prediction of a score, if you like.
I'm looking at Kennedy and Trindle to play really well for us. If they play well, I think it'll go a long way towards us winning. I'm gonna say the Sharks, even though maybe if I look deep within myself, I think we might lose. But I'm gonna be positive because it's round one and it's one more
Right.
sleep. So I'm gonna say the Sharks are gonna win 20-12, and
Ooh.
Braden Trindle with a man of the match to start the year to solidify the 6.
Okay. I like that. I don't think you're not being positive saying I think we might lose by 4. That's not negative. It's a negative, but I don't think it's negative. But I appreciate what you're saying. I think it'll be close too. I think that we'll win. I think by about 4 points, unfortunately. I think it'll be pretty tight. I have no idea really what the scoreline's going to be because I think that we'll defend pretty good. I think that we can score some points. They can score some points. Their defense was a lot better last year than what it was. You might be in the right ballpark there. I mean, you think the weather would be okay-ish this time of the year, although it will be nighttime, a bit more wet. I think it'll be something like, I might steal your thunder and just sort of say the Sharks going to win 24-20. I think it'd be something like that. So
I take that.
I'd take it too. My players to look out for, I think, will be Will Kennedy and probably I don't know who else. Maybe I'm looking at the halves. Yeah, let's go halves. Let's go Nico and let's go Trindle. Let's put him under the pump here. And as the coach said in his presser, it doesn't matter how many points we win by. We just want to win. We want to walk away with
That's
the 2
it.
points, and we're playing to win. No more excuses. No more of this round one stuff. Just go out there and win. It's what you are supposed to do. Go out there and win.
Yeah.
Joshy, we're gonna leave it there unless you have more information for us, more thoughts, more opinions.
No, I'm good to go. That was a
Yeah,
lot of fun. I'm even more excited than I was before now. I hope everyone else is too.
excellent. I hope they are too. I hope they've been enjoying our pods. We've been trying to drop them as much as we can to get you all pumped up. And this one's going to be great. Round one, Warriors. It's going to be cool. We're going to win. And also want to say, Josh, thanks to all of our co-hosts who've been so great with their time this week. And we do have a little extra bonus for everyone. I was lucky enough to hang out with our friend Dan Nichols a couple of nights ago, and we recorded a couple of segments for his Rugby League Outlaws show. Terry was not around, so I stepped in to some very big shoes, literally, and we had some fun. So we've got the audio about the Sharks season coming up. So it'll be myself and Dan. Dan will be leading the way, and you'll hear that after we come out of the show. It'll be a audio only thing. It won't be a video thing. Apologies to video people. And that's just another bonus for you guys and girls. Hope you like it. And we will speak to you on the other side of us winning in round one, Josh. Can't thank you enough for your time, my friend. Thank you for your friendship. Love you lots. We're going to get out of here. This is SharkCast Pod, and we will speak to you after some time with 2 points in our hands. I cannot wait. Let's go. I'm getting excited, Josh. I've got 24 hours.
Let's go.
I'm
Go the
peaking too
Sharkies.
early as per. Up. Let's go, Sharkies.